in every conversation between two people, there's 6 entities. Okay, so Rich, if you could stand up, and you're going to be you.
I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm you.
Okay. Okay. And Bob, if you could stand up, you're going to be me. But not really me, you me. Okay. Okay. So, in every conversation between two people, there are 6 entities happening. And an entity is just a mental concept going on. Okay? So, there is the truth of, so me is the beginning point of the conversation. There's the truth of me as you're speaking about yourself, which is you are in awareness looking out at the world. But then there's all the thoughts you're thinking about yourself, which are made up things. There's you, and then there's all that stuff about you, okay? So the next entity is what I think of me. So Tammy, if you could come and stand next to Bob, please. You are the 3rd entity, and that's what Bob thinks of himself. Okay, and if you could turn that around so everybody can see it. Thank you. Okay, and the next one is what you, the 2nd person in the conversation, think of you. Okay, so Mark, if you could come and stand next to Rich and hold what you think of you. And Rich, you can go ahead and come over this way a little bit. All right. Okay, Corey, can you guess what the next entity might be? I know you're being very present. No, you're being present in the moment, not thinking ahead. That's good. Okay, you're going to be the next. You're going to be the next entity, and that entity is what I, which is you, Bob, think of you, Rich, who's the 2nd person in conversation. So you are going to stand next to Tammy. Right, with what I think of you. That's what Bob thinks about Rich. Okay? So go ahead, and he's filming, so if you can stand next to Tammy and hold it so he can see it over there. Okay, great. Okay. Thank you, Milton, for getting ready. Okay. Who can guess what the next entity is going to be?
What you think of me.
You got it, exactly. What you think of me. So Milton, if you can hold this one over next to Mark. Okay. All right. So in every conversation that you have, put that out of the way, with every person, you can come over so that and everybody hold it towards your signs for the camera so someone watching this will see this. Okay. In every conversation between 2 people, Bob and Rich, there's actually 6 mental concepts going on. Okay? There's the truth of Bob. There's the truth of Rich, which is just that here they are, someone's standing in that space looking out. They're just a pure awareness. This is Eckhart Tolle stuff, so if anybody is curious about this, listen to Eckhart Tolle, because it's really some great stuff. Okay, so there's the truth of them. Then, there's all the stuff, what I think of me, all the stuff Bob has made up about himself. I'm an employee, I'm a father, I'm a handsome guy, I'm a, what, Bob? Yeah, I'm a carpenter. You know, is that what you said?
Hard worker.
Oh, a hard worker. A hard worker. That's really good, because there's things that we make up about ourselves, right? Or I'm lazy, or I'm smart, or I'm, special, or whatever it is. He has thoughts about himself. Or I'm strong, or, stuff like that, okay? Then there's what Rich thinks about himself. What you think of you. Okay, because he's the 2nd person in the conversation, so he's me and he's you. Okay, so now Rich has all the stuff he's made up about himself too. I'm a great dad. I'm a happy person. I'm a passive listener. I'm a good friend. I smile a lot. Whatever you make up about you, that's what you think of you, right? Okay, so now whatever you think about you bumps into what he thinks about him, something will happen. If you think of yourself as a bully, and you think of yourself as a victim, when you guys bump into each other, that's going to create a particular situation, right? If you think of yourself as, I don't know, if you're gay, to create a particular situation.
Very well.
No, like what else? You know, if you're looking for someone to hire in the job you're doing, and you do that particular kind of job, that's going to create a particular situation, right? If you find out that information about each other. Right. So these things are interacting, right? You're not just coming from the truth of you, you're also coming from all the stories that you're living in about yourselves, okay? Now it gets even richer, because when you look at him, you think something about him, even if you just met him. Or if you knew him for 10 years or however many years, 30 years, 40 years, you're going to think a lot of other stuff, you know, about him, right? And every time you meet him, when you talk with him now, it's going to be a completely different situation than when you bump into him.
Right.
40 years of all that stuff, you meet him with that all the time. The same way when Corey was up here and you said, I know that's not her because she would do this because you know her. Bob could not have said that. So what I think of you plays in every conversation you have. And what you think of me is playing in that conversation. So when you're standing in a conversation, you will never, once you know this, you will never be able to enter a conversation with a single person the same way again, because your brain will go, oh, this is coming from what I think of you. And, oh, I think you probably said that because of what you think of me. But you know what? That's not really me. That's just what you think of me. Right? So this gives me chills because it's powerful. Here's why it's powerful. Someone will come to you and say, you always do that, and you're so stupid, and you didn't. And you just get to stand there and go, oh my gosh, I can see what you think of me. That is so not who I am. Interesting. And somebody else might come and say, you are so awesome, you are so wonderful, you are the most beautiful person I've ever met. And you go, ah, that's what you think of me. I may be that. I may not. I may. I can bask in the glory of you saying that if I choose to. And it's your thoughts. And our thoughts, we have all kinds of thoughts. Just because I have a thought doesn't mean I have to say it. It's probably not true. Especially if I'm angry or I'm tired or whatever. It's just a thought. So I can treat it as a thought and not as a truth. And the reason there's so much violence in the world is because we make up stuff about other people and then we treat them as if it's true. That's why when we're in a war, they have to propagandize and say that's the enemy and they're bad and they're evil. Because once we get that they're evil and we're good, then we can do whatever we want to them and we're justified. And we're doing it in all our conversations all the time. So once you get this, you start making up better things about people because you start having better experiences with them. Not that it's true or not. What's really true is just pure awareness in the moment, presence in the moment. But really what we keep interacting from is these things.
So what you're saying is you shouldn't throw on to them what you actually think of them. Is that right?
That's awesome. That's what we're doing. We're throwing it onto them,
right.
And then we're standing back and going, look at the monster I created. You are that monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're throwing it on them. It's not who they are.
Right.
They're just presence in the moment too. Something we do is called already listening. And already listening is where I already know what you're going to say. I know who you are. I'm not seeing the person who's in front of me right now in this moment. Maybe they came to a seminar and learned something, or maybe they just heard something that made them want to show up differently with me, but I already know who they are. I'm not going to hear it. You're the same person. I already know. I know what you're going to say. I know who you're going to be. Eckhart Tolle, in one of his things, said, oh, actually, if you want to go ahead and take a seat. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Well done. He said that some people, after 30 years, they say they're sitting at the dinner table and they haven't really seen each other for 30 years. They haven't seen this person that's right here in front of them, right now, with no preconceived notions. He talked about looking at a tree without saying, oh, that tree reminds me of this and it makes me think of this. And that's what we're doing all the time, making up our stuff about stuff. Instead of just being with and letting what shows up be now. And yesterday's gone, the future's not here, and in this moment, I have have an opportunity to meet your muse.